All right. Yep. All right. Awfully sorry. Awfully sad. I realize I'm a little late, 12 minutes late, and then even then. Well, okay. Welcome to the Anyone Can Farm live chat. Friday night edition. This is our open line Friday. And this is where we open it up and we'll talk about stuff that you guys want. Hey, Honey Kafina is with us. Long time, woman. Long time. And Brittany's with us. Right on. Good. I'm glad you made it. Happy spring, everybody. It seemed a little springy today, a little bit unusual. So Friday night is the night that we set aside Open Line Friday. And this is where we will talk about the things that you guys want to talk. Wednesday nights is question and answer only. Of course, it's not like we won't answer a question on a Thursday night. We certainly will. But we've been kind of working on format Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, where I asked for input on that you'd like to be expounded on. And that's worked out pretty. Take the topic, and then I'll talk about our sponsors, and then we have separate points that we like to talk about, and then have a closing, and then do a little Q&A. It seems to be working out pretty good. Again, the mission here, help the overall community of homesteaders and small farmers and bring this information right into everybody's home. It's more rudimentary than food to human beings' sustenance, you know. And I just had dinner with a guy that gets around plenty, and he was amazed that we had a class like this. And there's a lot of people out there that are interested in their own sustainability. And he says, yeah, I guess I could see that. And to us, we talk about this all the time, and it makes so much sense that you want to narrow the field, and you want to have more control over the processes that are necessary to sustain your. Because if you don't, then somebody else has control of those processes. Like if you don't control your food, then someone you don't know controls your food. And that kind of, when you think about it that way, it's kind of a crazy thing. You need food to live, and yet you have no control over it. Food at the store? Hey, there's no food at the store. And I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I don't know. I just know that I get a reeling about having control of a lot of these processes. I enjoy it, and I like to talk about it. I like to pass it on to you all. So that's the idea. That's what we are here to do. And like I said, Friday night, open lines, we can talk about anything. And I see, just let me get it out there real quick. Coming up here, April 16th, we're going to have a seed swap here at Baker's Green Acres. That's a Saturday, and we're going to open up the farm, and maybe we'll do a little barbecuing. If you want to bring a dish to pass, And then if you have some seeds over from last year, what do you want to do? If you have some seedling mushroom spores that I can pass on, more than I need, it seems. Yeah, so, and it'll be a good day of fellowship and friendship. You know, we can hang out, have a campfire going, and meet and greet and all that good stuff. It's not like we're gonna throw anybody out of here. We had fun last year, and we almost thought we won't do it. But then Jill's like, "Hey, we really don't have anything on the schedule. Why don't we do it?" She's a little social butterfly. She is. So I did that we would do it. Let's see. We got Keith, Inga, Honey, Fina, Brittany, Vindicti, Johnny Wise. All right, right on. Good crowd. We had 40 people on the chat. You know, you'll see the numbers up there, and it'll be like 20. But see, people come and go. So we had 40 people. That's really changing things, isn't it? Good to see that. All right, I think I saw something there. I got a question from Honey Fina. What do you think? Do you have your birds with this, or do you take to take of your birds with this bird flu season? I tell you what I think. You know, agriculture has been around for a long time, and it seems like when the powers that be, like the Department of Agriculture, all of a sudden comes out and oh, look out! Bird flu is coming. We may have to exterminate your flocks. They're the same people, you know. They're the same people that said, "Oh, hunker down in place, stand 6 foot, face mask on, for goodness sakes." It's the same dumb. So I don't know a farce or not. I don't know. But I tell you what, I'm awfully skeptical of these people. I'm awfully skeptical of them. They are, you know, they're our friends, the parasite class. They produce nothing. They're universal income people. They get paid whether they do anything all day or not. You know, they usually have company cars. They have insurance policies, and they're basically cubicle rats. And yeah, I trust? No, I don't trust them. I mean, they've lost all trust. They have lost all trust in my. I mean, you ask me if I think it's real. No, I don't think it's real. When I see it, because we don't trust them anymore, and I think we would be fools for trusting them. My son was telling me today about a mutual friend of ours, smart guy too, but he bought this Russia-Ukraine thing hook and sinker. I mean, I didn't give that this guy Zelensky was, oh, this guy is super. I mean, this guy is, he is a super soldier. He Molotov cocktails up against T-72. Do you believe that? How can you believe what the media says at this point about anything? Skeptical if they told me that never mind. I just don't see how anything that they say. I think you're kind of a fool if you do. I'm my opinion. You're a fool, probably a damn fool at this point, to believe anything that the media says. So a month ago, that in the state of Georgia, that they're taking preemptive measures, the Department of Agriculture is to prevent of the bird flu and shut down a lot of the chicken production that goes on there. It's a big state for chicken. I read the article, and at the time I thought, could this possibly be? And I haven't heard much else, but I think that it looks like the powers are in a fight here. There's one power that sort of represents us, the common people, and then there's another power that hates us, and they're just thieves and beggars and parasites. And if I were to find out that they were behind this, this new bird flu, I mean, would I be surprised? Hell no. I mean, why would you? I mean, they're the worst. I mean, they've caused more disruption and heartache in people's lives than just about anybody I can think of. And I know, I didn't want to say than any terrorist. My goodness. If they were truly the Department of Agriculture, then they would be promoting agriculture. It wouldn't just be an saying, oh, nobody can raise chickens anymore. You're doing it. Do they really care? What? Stop chicken production, because if we don't, then all the chickens will die. So let's do it. Well, isn't the same thing? And how they've gotten themselves to the place where they can dictate is the question that should be answered. Now, they can't dictate what I do on private property, and I know they will BS people into voluntarily doing away with their flocks. But if you're smart, you will just at this point totally ignore what I mean. It's not even real what they say, right? All right, so that's my take on it. Yeah, and if you haven't noticed, I don't believe Ukraine is a great place. I believe, I wouldn't say I'm exactly a fan of anybody in government, whether they're Russians or Americans, but I think Putin's justified in what he's doing. That's me. And I'm looking at the bomb damage, and I don't believe it's the bomb damage that they say it is. So you've got the media spinning it up like poor Ukraine. Ukraine is about on the same level as Taiwan. It's run, money launderers and drug addicts and human traffickers and all that stuff. So when the Russian government, they're thinking about going NATO, and they're thinking about all the weapons grade biolabs on their property, some of them financed by the United States. Putin finally said, the hell with this. And I kind of can see his point. Ukraine is, if the mainstream media is pumping up Ukraine like, yo, Ukraine, I'm not going to go with what they say, because they lie so much. All right, Brittany. For once, we are ahead of having everything ready for the weekend of selling animals and running big to butcher. It feels good to be ahead of the game. Right on. You're fortifying your position. It's time, doesn't it? Especially with a little one around. Where do you have 4 or 5 of them? But then you get on top of it, and the 4 or 5, some of them are in their 20s, and you can tell them to go do it. It gets better. Is with us. Okay. Oh, I would love to come to the seed exchange, but that is Easter weekend. Well, it's Saturday, though. Vindicti is saying, get ready for exponential growth. Justin is with us. Justin, I was thinking about you today, putting in an in-ground fence, right? I was telling these guys about my my exploits with the in-grounding for the dogs, and I reconfigured it. This is the third time reconfiguring it. So I was putting down some new wire and an edge that I could put on my weed whacker that was 3 inches. That's all I needed. And I was going along real happy, going probably about 15 feet per minute. And foomp, I hit a power line. That was, I'm surprised I hit it because it was down quite deep. It was just like a shallow spot. I nailed it. So I thought about your instructional that you gave me on those that equipment doing splices, and came in and did it just the way you said. And I'm quite sure that the splice that I made is going to be airworthy. So I was thinking of you today. Thanks a lot for that stuff, by the way. That was nice of you to think of me like that. So I got another place where I have a cut in the line that I made a repair on, but it gave up last time after 15 years. So I'm going to re-accomplish it with the stuff that you gave me about it. But planning on living 200, a lot of this stuff is going to bite me again. Okay. Angus saying, with related world food, I believe it is to take over farms. It's all about control. Again, caution you with that when you put something like that out there. Ooh, they're going to take over a farm. Them and what army? You know, you've got to think about this. Like, do you think that there's a force of people that could do that? You know, there really isn't. The New World Order type people, the parasite people, they come up with these grand plans. But as far as executing the plans, I don't know as it always goes well for them. I just don't think COVID went as according to plan. What, Andy and Justin, November. I mean, we proceeded as though nothing was going on. So we basically made the decision. I mean, instead of just taking the narrative that they put out there and saying, well, that's what's happening, we observed and said, no, I'm not going along with this, you know. And the mainstream media has lost so much credibility now in the months since then that I think they have a tough mission to accomplish, and I just don't think they're going to get it. I told you guys that I've been listening to Owen Benjamin, Jack, that turned me on to him. And Jack's taking a powder right now. He's taking a break. But one of the things that he talks about is the criminal cabal, or whatever you want to call them. They're parasitic left, you know, criminal mafia world group of people that seem to always be the Khazarian mafia. I think that has a lot. You know, they're always working an angle to work for, and that has been going on forever. And I think that people are sure of that. I think that was the reason why we've just gone through everything that we've gone through. I mean, in a way, that was sort of engineered too, so that people could see that they had put their trust in a lot of institutions that they probably shouldn't have. And now they're not going to trust those institutions ever again, like the mainstream media. I mean, you have to be a damn fool to listen to it. I don't care if it's Fox News. They're still programming you. They're still programming you. And, you know, I think that they just a lot of their oomph, a lot of their ability to, as Owen would say, cast these spells on us. And I think that, we might have this, a magic spell is when they're saying ibbity bibbity boo and throwing in eye of newt and all that stuff. And it doesn't compute in our minds, but I think a magic spell could be a scenario that they come up with, and we're all going to push that scenario, Phils. And the main thing that we're trying to do is initiate fear in the people. So Inga says, with the manipulated food world supply shortage is coming, you're making a statement that that's coming. You're that that's coming. You don't know. You don't, but you've heard it. That's part of the spell. That's part of the told stock up on food, man, and even Homeland Security. You should have 3 or 4 days worth of, and people hear that going on. That's part of the spell. And then their minions in like the Department of Agriculture will say, "I got an idea. We'll get the avian bird flu going, and we'll get people wipe out their flocks. Pets won't have any chickens to eat." Yeah, that'll work. So when they put a spell out there that, they're going to, like here, I believe it's all to take over. In a way, you've pushed the spell. And I'm just using you as an example. I got beaten up on you. You know that. But you're using the spell. And what I'm saying is, no, you won't have control over me, right? But you're not going to have control over me. And guess what? You're not taking my farm. If you want to take farm, you're going to have to take me first. And oh, by the way, that's going to be a tough one, because I'm not going to hand over to you. You can say all farmers have to give up their farm. Oh, yeah? We're not. As a matter of fact, whatever comes out of, look out. That you're a marked person, right? Because you're not going to take our farms from us, because we know that if you take our farms from us, what the purpose of that is. It's to take our farms so you feed us. No, it isn't. It's like you're going to take our guns from us to keep us safe from each other. We don't fear each other. We fear you, actually. But anymore, we don't fear you, because that's part of the spell that they put us under. Fear them. Spell by doing exactly the opposite. Oh, we should all stand 6 feet apart and don't congregate anymore. Oh, well, I hear that an anti-Satanist hearing, oh, then we should stand closer together and we should gather every chance we get. That's what I hear. And that's what we must do. Whatever comes out of their mouths, you do the opposite. Doesn't that make sense? I mean, they're not real quick. They're not real cagey, right? But we're pretty dumb. We're actually naive is probably a better word. Naive is probably a better word. I might be a little bit more worldly than the next one. As soon as we came out, I smelled dead fish, and I was right. It was dead fish. So, spell, break the spell. With manipulated food shortage. Oh, they're saying we want food shortages. We want food shortages for us? No, for you. We want to starve you peasants, because we want to manipulate you. We want you scared. We want you hungry. Rising up against us. Just 1% of the population. Yeah, the media, and we control a lot of government. We're deathly afraid of use. So to think that they wouldn't use an incantations against us, you need your head examined if you believe that. They will use whatever it takes against us. You have to know that, and that's what's going on, right? So it was vaccine unless you get a vaccination, and you get a lot of idiots in the cities that say, oh, you should get your vaccinations. And they get their little passports and all that stuff. Well, you guys should do it. They tell on each other. That's exactly what these Satanists want. These witches and warlocks want. That's exactly what they want. And you opposite. And another thing to do, I saw this when we were going through the thing with DNR. You know, they put out there, we did apply what they wanted, which was illegal, even ask us to dispossess our property. That were going to arrest us, right? So that was meant, ooh, scary, you know, scary getting arrested, right? And you know, if you resist, you get killed. And you know, they're parasite beggar class, so yeah, they're not trustworthy in any way. So you don't really want to lock horns with them at all, you know, if you can help it. And then they said, well, we'll put a lien against your property. We'll, you know, take possession of your children and stuff. That was all meant to scare me. Compliance. They wanted to scare me into compliance because they couldn't force me into compliance. If they could have forced me compliance, I would have complied, but they couldn't voluntarily comply. They're just using threats and as along the way, you know, like, it's not worth fighting with these guys. I might just do what they want and dispossess my property. If I'd have done that, I would not have pigs out on pasture right now. Honestly, agree with me on that. But what we did at one point in there is we made a video. You can see it over 18 acres. Matter of fact, we'll get some. I'll see if somebody will pull it down, post it in the notes here. And the name of it was Feral Children, right? So we mocked the Michigan Department of Natural Resources and the Department of Agriculture, actually the ones, but too wussy to be able to push their agenda. They needed the DNR. The DNR's got a bigger budget and they got guns, and they're very intimidating. People in the state actually hate them, with terrible things on them. You know, I've heard people say horrible things about them. And, you know, we don't talk that way about our state. We don't. We kind of hold our state police up. They're not perfect. Yeah. So this video that was called Feral Children, we mocked everything that they said about feral pigs. And it was funny, but it really broke the spell that they had people under, because people believe them. Why do people believe them? Because people come out on service announcements and, well, this is you know, John Wilson, a biologist with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, and he'd be there with his little you know, alligator with the DNR logo on there. Go into why feral swine are so detrimental to the beautiful state of Michigan. They kill baby ducks and deer, and we love our deer hunting, and our environment here is so beautiful, and we could quickly become with feral swine. They'll be everywhere. They'll be you know, and he's pretty convincing. And they had women doing it, men doing it, and then there would be, you know, articles by biologists from other organizations. So imagine that, you know, they were saying, well, the science tells us. But anymore, put science out in front. Shouldn't turn your brain off just because you think you don't know science. A lot of what science is repetitive statements about things that think about. And this guy says it, and this, you know, all science is bad. I'm a scientist myself. But sometimes they'll take a narrative and hey, it's a science. and they'll only take a little slice of that with their agenda. Now, you might say, well, Mark, are you telling me that the Department of Natural Resources or the Department of Agriculture didn't have this in mind about trying to rid the state of Michigan of feral swine? And I would say, if you look into it, you will see that they did actually nothing. All of us thoroughly depopulate our herds. I have the authority to come on private property and depopulate my herd. I don't care what anybody says. They never had the authority. Did they would have, if they would have. But they wanted us to do it, and they told us, well, you could be fined up to, whenever you hear that, you could receive fines up to $10,000 per animal. And then they had to actually put it in writing for me, and they sought fines from Baker's Green Acres of $700,000. I'm not kidding you. And it was on the Department of Attorney General's letterhead. So you could say they were serious, but were they really serious? I mean, how are you going to get $700,000 out of me? You to put a lien against my, but would it be legal? Trying to psych me out, think that they could, and I knew that they couldn't. Even though my lawyers were not being straight with me, I knew that they couldn't do it. And that's was designed to make me be afraid, and then to just say, well, because I'm afraid, then I might as well they want. Like, if it backs you up and wants to take your car or else, and you kind of like, okay, you give in early, give in quickly, unless you say, and then you say, well, okay, well, let's see if you can get it, because I don't think I can get it done. That breaks the spell that they try to put you under, right? A lot of what we COVID, it's just an example, like just to know for next time. I mean, you apply the stuff to me, and I've said this a million times. You put a mask on, and you can engage. You can just walk past them, and then it's like, now your move. Obviously, I'm not going to do what you want. Your move. You can keep saying, sir, 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 or you can grab my elbow, and then it's my move, right? That might not turn out so good for you. So it's not good to all pray these spells they won't try and put. It's just not a good idea. So I'm picking on you, Inga, but the way it's almost like I read that thinking, boy, she just say that. It's like almost got you, right? Like world food shortages. Well, I mean, that's to, hey, this boat's going down. But I got me a life preserver. So doesn't, right? I got me a life preserver. Get your life preserver. When you hear that, get your life preserver, right? Inga, Europe is telling people to have 10 days of food. Meanwhile, a while back, that anyone's food, they can create food, right? They're going to go house and take food. Think how many people need to do that? In the United States, we have 300 million people. Oh, they're going to just turn in your food, bring it down here, turn it in, bring your guns too. Do you see how dumb that is? 300 million people, and there are 1 million active on run, and then you have a billion law enforcement against 300 million. Who are you going to get to do that? You know, unless you all comply. Well, it's the law in my food. Yeah, right. You know, I think that these days, honestly, you know, I try to put myself in the thought leadership. Like if I was in leadership right now, let's county as sheriff. Let's say it was. And we're down the chain that hey, we're going to be picking up guns. We're going to be, you know, there's a suspension of the Second Amendment at state level, and we're going to be picking up guns. And I to take to the airwaves, say the good citizens of Talkie County, my sheriff's deputies, 14 of them going house to house, and you will be turning your firearms. If I was the county sheriff, I would not want to utter, you know, not me. I'm not saying that. No, I would just keep my mouth shut, if anything, or I would be telling the police that, you know, roll that shit down the hill, up yours. You try it, and I'll mobilize these people, and you won't like that. You know, that's probably how the approach that I would take of that. People do not trust this government right now, and for the government to try and force people to do something, it would get hairy quick. I believe that's just my feeling. Now, me, I'm not one of these cities where you probably have to start to do these things. I'm out here in the perimeter, which probably not going to see anything like that out here. Who knows? What do I know? I don't have a crystal ball. Honey Kafina, I work with a large group of people who are double vaxxed, had COVID anyways, and still wear masks. You just can't talk common sense to them. Well, I don't think you can. If someone is bewitched, common sense is not, it's not in that equation. It's not going to make sense. You have to break that spell some other way. And I believe, I really do believe that when you mock them, it takes them to a completely different place and look at themselves, what they're doing. Yeah, Sean, you remember that, right? Feral children. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while either, but we were thinking about making some other videos like that. You know, we milk a few cows, and I have more milk than I need. And for a while, people were rattling like, "Hey, we want milk." And then now that I have milk, it's kind of like they're not free. It comes off the farm, it should be free, or they just think $10 a gallon is too much. Maybe so, but the milk store ain't worth the $2 that you pay for it. But I can tell you that a lot more work goes into it than you might think. But anyway, I made a video I would take pictures of the milk sitting on the counter after I milked, and does anybody need cow shares? And I would always the details. And so I don't know what they're thinking. It's like I'll stop what I'm doing right now and sit down 5 details on my iPhone and send it to somebody I never hear from. I don't have time for that, right? So I made a video and I said, okay, here's the details. This is how it works. When I milk these 2 cows, I get this amount of milk. I can put it in glass. I can put it in this. I can put it in this. When I'm done, I'll put it in this refrigerator. You drive in the driveway right here, come down, stop here, put the milk in your car, go down here, take a left at the outhouse, and go back out on the road. You pay online. You pay, a month at a time. Those are the details. If you have any more questions, call this number, telephone, talk to this woman, right? I put it up on Michigan Homestead. They took it down. They took it down. Why? Because it deals with raw milk. So why is there this spell out there about raw milk? Like if I set you straight on raw milk, I'm actually this spelling the foolishness that's out of these organizations that want shit is illegal. So we got to thinking it would be fun today to make a video about raw milk. Because my in-law was telling me she used to work at Valley, which is an organic place here in town, that people would come in and say, do you know where I can buy raw milk, raw cow's milk? You know, and the, you know, they it's like on the lowdown, you know, there's drones flying around. The walls have ears. They're listening for raw milk. It's such foolish, but it's it is a, you know, it's an operation that they're running to keep people from drinking raw milk because it's a good food. It's a wholesome food. If you made a quick call to, hey, who can I speak to down there about, you know, whether we should be drinking raw or not? You're going to work there. You are going to have to give the company. No, we don't advise it. It's very unsafe. People have died and da 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 da. Buy the stuff, or if you want stuff that's less processed, then you can buy milk that is light pasteurized, they'll say. But they're not going to tell you the truth about raw milk. They're lying to you. That's so glaring. You know, Department of Agriculture should be, well, you know, raw milk in the country. No questions asked. But in certain states, it's, oh no, raw milk is bad. It's legal. It's horrible, terrible. And they lie. They're just of parasitic lie. They're not who they say they are. It should be the Department of Anti-Agriculture. Ha! Yeah. Goes to saying a real scientist with these clowns in a box to study them. I think they have. Ballistic is saying sounds just clicking. Same for me, says hunting out of internet. Here too. All right. Let me go to the bottom one. Is it working now? Yeah, we've lost a lot of people. But let me to reboot. Okay, can I try to do that? Let's see what happens. Stand by. We lost the chat. Back on. So down now. And you guys are going to have to hit more stuff to talk about. I lost everything on the chat. Evidently, my working too good. It was clicking and not sounding good. Ballistic was with us. I still have 13 people on. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? I can't tell if I'm on or off, to be honest with you guys. It says live, but I don't see anything in the chat. Okay. Going, it's the same, but we can hear you. Chris says, Justin D. Honey Kafita, yes, we can hear you. All right, great. Loud and clear. Raw milk is really beneficial for childhood development. My daughter-in-law is pregnant with my third grandchild, and Mrs. Sally Fallon from the Weston A. Price Foundation is telling her she should drink 32 ounces per day. 32 ounces per day. So, you all, I lost the chat. Is there anything for Open Line Friday that you would like to talk about? I lost what we had on there. Okay. Somebody's got to have something. Take a minute and type something out. Thinking about shaving my beard off this weekend. It's starting to get loud. I was working on the dog fence today, as I was telling you. About 15 minutes from total completion on that. Tell you a little bit about that. That's kind of an interesting story. We have Great Pyrenees dogs. You really can't run an operation like this because we tried without guardian dogs. You have to have guardian dogs. But the Great Pyrenees is, they're kind of finicky and they will just walk off. They'll just walk away. They don't even look over their shoulder. You can be screaming at them, come back, come back. They'll just keep going. And they'll wind up 5 miles away laying in the middle of the road. It's happened to us. And so, but the only thing you can do is chain them up, which isn't good. They wind up being kind of antisocial, or you can put an in-ground fence. And there's several ways to configure the fence, but at first we didn't understand the mindset of the dog. And so we thought, well, it'd be nice if the dog could be right up on the top of the hill looking down on the road, and people would drive by and see our dogs, and that might be a good deterrent to any shenanigans, and that kept them in, but they would really get tense when a car would drive by. They'd hear it, and then they'd start looking for it, and then they'd get up and it would go by and they'd bark at it, and they'd run along the fence that was keeping them in and bark at it. And it was just really not good, because it just put everything on edge to have 2 or 3 big dogs jump up and that crap. And so we moved them back somewhat from the road and did a continuous fence in 5 days. And what that did was that left the back of the farm if you had anything out there. And more so than that was the boundary that the dog could run was limited. So foxes found out that they could sit right outside. They could dash in, take something, and dash out. So that worked for a while as far as keeping the dogs in, but didn't keep the predators away as good. Then what we just did is we configured it so there's a loop from us, and it keeps back down so that they cannot see over the horizon to see cars. They can't see them. So they can hear them, but they can't see. And then out of the house, we come down from the corner of the house right now, this corner, straight down past the garden and then up to the gate. So from that angle, they can't see anything either. They might be able to hear. So as soon as we put the collars on them today with nice hot batteries in them, everything changed. Everything changed. And so it's kind of back to sanity. And I guess we've gone through this a couple of times, and then the fence will go down. But the way I had the fence configured before, when the fence went down, I couldn't find the break because it was so long. You'd find nothing because it's buried. How are you going to find it? But it is now. I split it in two. I have tiers. One is in the wood shop and the other one is in the garden shed. So if the fence is down, it would be unlikely that both segments of the fence would go down at the same time. So with Great Pyrenees, I see Beth is here too. And this was of interest to her. She's got them as well. They're actually from our place. With Great Pyrenees, you got to keep them guessing all the time. So I would use a combination of the in-ground fence and the shock and collar, and then just single strand of electric fence. And it can be the poly wire on step-in posts to keep them out of certain things. You're going to go in your garden and bury bones and stuff, and you don't want that. Put a fence there. And once they touch it with their nose, so they don't like it at all. But start really being tough on our dogs as far as fences go. I'm going to restrict the heck out of them where they can and can't go. Of course, they can always go out to the poultry field where they belong. But as far as them like chasing cars going through the yard, or when people come to drop off chickens barking at them, I am not putting up with that at all. I am going to break them of that. And sometimes the measures are a little bit severe, but I don't care. I'm not putting up with it anymore. I will fence them in. Like I can fence them in a very small part of the backyard. And if they know I can see them and they start barking, as soon as they see me, they stop, because I'll have a BB gun in my hands and I will shoot them. I will shoot them with that BB gun. And they do not like that. And it might seem cruel, but they can get so obnoxious. Every time that someone comes in, it gets a little worse and a little worse and a little worse. And I'm fed up with them, honestly. I know it's March Madness. I've dealt with them all winter long, and I'm just kind of fed up with them. So I'm going to start putting a real hurting on them here pretty quick. But restriction that I've just done, plus I'm going to have portable electric fences that I'm just going to put up places, and they're going to learn. They're going to learn. So it's going to be sort of a hard place for them to live for a little while, but not going to let them run the farm. That's for sure. There's going to be 4 of them now, because we have a new puppy that came from Copper Head Farm. Is it Copperhead or Copper Hill? Carrie Cronk, anyway. I don't think they listen to the show. I don't think they do. Our Marine friends from down south of us a couple hours. And then we have another male coming, because he's done. He's more interested on what's on TV now these days. So that's that. Any good subjects you guys want to talk about? I don't see anything. Everybody's just listening. Yeah, so I almost got that finished today. I'm going to give it a couple minutes in the morning. My work crew is going to be rolling out of here tomorrow. They're going to Monster Truck Rally tomorrow, and I'm not interested in going, honestly. And I'm able to get out of it. It's $40. So I'm going to have some time off tomorrow. Me and Joel will be here alone. Yeah, too bad it's not swimming season, but we'll be here alone, just kicking around the farm. I'm not sure what the weather's supposed to be like this weekend either. I think it's going to get cold again for a little while. We got up and there was like an inch of snow on the ground this morning, but it was pretty well gone by lunchtime. So that was nice. Yeah, okay. We're almost done with March, aren't we? Today's the 25th. Yeah, well, that's cool. All right, well, Honey Caffeine is saying, I'm doing good with my 5 ducks, silver apple yard ducks, and hoping to get some ducklings this spring. Right on. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a couple of them. I would definitely want to buy a couple off you if you had them. Ducks are great. They really are. They can be kind of messy, and they like to come up where the people's is, so they have a tendency to want to sit on the back porch, and it can get pretty greasy wherever they're sitting. But they're nice to have around. We had what were those kinds that we had? I can't remember the name of them now. They're white and they have a red head on them. They don't really require water, and they hiss. They don't quack. Whatever those kinds. And just a couple of them, and then somebody gave us one. I think somebody brought them here to be butchered, and they said, "Well, we don't really want it. We don't want the meat back. We just don't want the ducks." So we didn't butcher them. We just kept them, and they had lots and lots of clutches of eggs, and they did a good job of raising them. And for a couple of years, we had like 30 things, and they would fly around the farm. And they're the type of ducks that pond and just live down there. And they didn't need much to do with us, but they stayed close. And I think that was the year that we went with the fencing configuration. Dogs couldn't get down to the pond.